Alrighty, let's get some sounds in here. Get your resistor ladder filter. Kyle Evans, and I'm in the sound department. I'm a second-year MFA grad student. Most of my work is obviously working in sound, but I also do a lot of electronics and building electronics and hacking and all that kind of fun stuff. I work with televisions a lot, as well as microcontrollers, homemade instrumentation, and things like that. When I was in undergrad, when I was really broke, I would make these and sell them for money, but a lot of these versions are like the first ones that I made of this type or something before I would make some to sell them. So they all have kind of like a sentimental value to me, but they're also a lot more crude and raw than the ones that I would actually sell, which of course you have to make look real nice and stuff. These different controls and they're just all going at once. Nice like additive thing, or that it's really fast and sounds really like arcadey kind of stuff. The first ones that I always build, just kind of throw them together, but they're the ones that mean the most. You know, like all these exposed wires and all this kind of stuff that's just so nasty. That's not even soldered right there. I don't know why. And this was during a time that I was focused a lot more on I was really excited about all this new stuff that I was learning and all these new circuitries, and I was just building stuff and just kind of doing as much as I can like within this realm, and I was just concentrating on it for so long, and then finally I decided, I was like, I need to step back and start moving on to something else, or else I'm never going to really evolve to anything. And that's when I got into microcontrollers. I have done a project called the electronic didgeridoo, or the electronically modified didgeridoo, and it is just literally a didgeridoo with modules mounted to the outside, connected to a microcontroller. Each one has different types of switches and knobs to the outside of it that can communicate to a computer. It got really popular and started going in a direction that I didn't really want it to, so I haven't really touched it in a while, maybe because of that reason. When I put up a video of it on YouTube, it just kind of exploded, and it started getting like tons and tons and tons of hits. I had an article about it in Popular Science magazine that just blew up even further. It caught a lot of attention, and now it's like just become this novelty item or something, more so than the direction I was originally taking it in as like a musical device for making new and interesting sounds. And it still does that, but I think people are more interested in it as like this thing. I'm not trying to take the didgeridoo out of that realm, because obviously it fell into it and it's doing well there. And I've kind of taken my ideas of where I really wanted to go and have pushed those into different projects. Okay, this device is actually my performance instrument that I use. It's a television that I've pretty much used just as like an enclosure. I wanted to make some kind of instrument that would be interesting to perform and fun to perform. And so I've taken this video transmitter and I tapped into different points of the circuitry and attached the wires to just these washers that are here that I've glued onto the screen. So what that does is then I can place my fingers across these different washers, and the electricity that's normally running through here runs through my fingers or between these gaps and stuff, and depending on how hard I push or how much I'm sweating, the resistance changes of the electricity, so it can flow more easily or less easily and bend this circuit in different ways. James Connolly and I are doing a collaborative project called Cracked Ray Tube. He was working on that stuff with Eric Pellegrino before in his duo Die Computer. And I've been working with the television stuff, and we kind of developed our projects separately. And then I guess one day we realized, hey, our stuff is kind of similar, let's get together and see what happens. And we sat down in my living room, we literally just like, oh, here's one of my wires, and I took one of his wires, we plugged it in, and all of a sudden it just blew up exponentially. Our equipment started doing things that we never thought it could do. Sometimes we have control over the system, and sometimes it just leaves our control, and we really don't know what to do. Sometimes he'll have control of my system, sometimes I'll have control of his system, and weird and unusual things start happening, which is what we like about it so much. I got this television for $750 today, which I mean is unbelievably cheap, and I mean people are just kind of throwing these things away now pretty much. I've been doing work with modifying these televisions in different ways, and what you're seeing here is an audio signal that is displaying itself, and it's sort of in a style like an oscilloscope works. I've modified the television back here in different ways to get it to display these images. And of course what I will do in order to modify these to make it more interesting than just these blue oscillons that are going is to use hand-wound electromagnets that'll also be driving with audio signals that'll be back here in the back of the television. You can kind of see what will happen if like I just use these speakers with the magnets on there to put, you can see how it starts changing the colors. And even I'm doing stuff like this, kind of ghosting the image and moving it around in different ways. Yeah, I've been experimenting a lot with televisions. I think they're incredibly interesting devices. It's like all I'm doing is utilizing the internal technology that was already available to me inside of it, just modifying it. So I mean, this is, all televisions are completely capable of doing these types of things intrinsically, but they're just kind of shielded from us. And I like the idea of taking this device that's normally sitting on your mantle, showing CNN or whatever's on TV, and instead taking that, modifying it, and turning it into something different, but still using the device itself.